On that side. I want to leave it.
the reading is
okay, whenever you want.
okay. Mr. Velez, are you ready?
Yes. Yes, sir.
12:05, I'll call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes. First is minutes of December the 15th, 2023. We'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve the minutes.
Motion made. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, motion passes. Other set of minutes is February the 16th, 2024. Motion made to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Next item on the agenda, 1438 Palm Boulevard. Mr. Velez.
Yes, thank you. As a reminder, we are a certified local government, so the certificate of appropriateness must be ruled by the Secretary of Interior Standards. These are the standards, the 10 standards that are the guide to rehab. Then we are putting here the info of the historic districts that we have, the downtown, the railroad, West Brownsville, and Los Ebanos. Buena Vida is the last one. Here are the limits of the historic districts with the different rankings of the properties from low to high. The National Historic District that we have in Brownsville, Friar Depot area, located in McNeil Family Road, and the Central Brownsville Historic District, a lot of contributing buildings. So the item is located at the Palm Village at the corner. This shows the Sanborn map from 1930 where there was nothing there, and then 1957, first phase of the Palm Village. We are speaking about this little corner where there was I think that a grass shed before, so they have removed it. And here is where they plan to build a new shed. I'm introducing this photograph just to let you know that they are even reproducing the old signage of the 1950s. And at that corner, they are going to build this shed that mimics the rest of the design that is going to be in the non-historical Palm Village. This is the floor plan. This is how it's going to look like, brick and metal, as you can see on the top of the area. That's the front, that's the rear facade. The facade to northeast orientation, and to southeast. And I'm providing here the examples of the facades that were approved by you kind of 2 years ago. So the recommendation is to approve the proposed shell as it resembles the aesthetic of the rest of the mall.
Okay, could you go back to the elevation? One there. There. Is that, what is that chain like there in the middle?
That is to, as far as I see, that is to hold the gutter, no?
No, it's to, it's called a rain chain, so it's for the water to run down that chain. but
Ah,
it's-
okay.
It's right in front of the door. I don't understand that.
Okay, this is the side. The side, okay, if we go to the,
Oh, wait, go back to the other one. There. Okay, so they move it away from the door.
yeah. This is the main facade. You can see the chain to the left.
Okay, all right. Okay, I'll entertain a motion. Motion made to approve. Is there a second? Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. Next item, 705 East St. Charles Street.
Okay, this is the 705 East St. Charles. That's the Marigal Villa and Herbert Sherwood residence. It was built in 1895. Sherwood was a British that married New Orleans Garvilla in 1876, and he worked all his life in the freight and ticket department of the old Rio Grande Railroad. And later on, he worked as an accountant in the Botica del Águila. He was also a member of the Knights of Honor Lodge. So he died in 1906, and immediately after the house was rented, and the widow moved to El Paso, where two of her children were living, indeed the two sons. So this is a medium preservation priority ranking, and naturally the tax exemptions are available if conveniently rehabbed. So what I'm showing here is the evolution of the two-story house. It was originally located on the corner of East St. Charles and 7th. You can see on the top of the Sanborn maps, you can see and you can identify that two-story building with only one one frontal porch and rear porch that covers the whole facade. So that was up to 1919, and between 1919 and 1926, let us say that the house had a rear addition that was extended, and then what it happened is that when the property was bought by the person that developed the Nelroy Apartments, currently now in place at the corner, they moved just to the adjacent lot, the structure. So this is a full Victorian house. It is what is called an I house family, and you are going to see the discoveries. And finally, this is the 1957. So again, it was located at the corner, and it was moved to the immediate lot. So we are speaking about the property that has 129 years. So I did a SWOT also to try to help to the property owners. They are asking for demolition, and maybe the SWOT analysis could help them. So the strength is that precisely the house somehow has still integrity, and that's the reason of why it's a medium preservation priority ranking. And because we have already the Sanborn map, that is the one to the left, 906, that perfectly shows what was the floor plan of the house. Again, this I house with the front and rear porch of only one story. So, sorry. So, the property owner also sent you a letter where they were saying that they spoke with Ms. Magolan from the Texas Historical Commission to find out if the house could have a possibility to become a designated house as a state marker or a national marker. Okay, that's going to be hard because it was altered. However, the integrity of the building is still there, and also not because you reach to a national or state designation, that means that you have to demolish the house because you don't get tax credits, In any case, they have this kind of conversation, and what I'm saying is that these kind of things have to be discussed with all the appropriate officials from the Texas Historical Commission. I mean, open the discussion with Greg Smith from the National Register of Historic Places program, and open it with Carolyn Wright, that is the one that is on top of Ms. Magolan, to speak about state tax credits. In any case, I feel that the rehabilitation is somehow simple because it's a two-story national folk, and it doesn't have, a huge mystery. It's a symmetrical house, and we already have some windows in position on the first floor or even the second. So the house is symmetrical, and it has a single height porch on the original times. So if the rehabilitation follows the Secretary of Interior Standards, naturally you can have grants from BCIC if the house is used for retail or entertainment purposes, not for residential purposes, because they have to get the hot money from the new businesses. And naturally, the house is rehabbed correctly, you would have tax exemptions. So the discoveries was that, okay, how this house looked like. So looking after aerial views, you can see that to the right, you are going to see a perpendicular straight there. So that house, that is, let me see. Here, this one, do you see it?
Yeah, that's a workman house.
That house, it is not marked. Okay, the house that is in the middle of the photograph with two-story, that is the house that was on 1928, 1929. Again, you can see perfectly the I house format with two windows, and then the rear addition, that's not historic. And then what it happened is that there's the porch right now is on the second level. I mean, you have transformed the original porch into a balcony. Let us see here. Again, you can see that change on the 1926 Sanborn map. Okay, the 1926 Sanborn map, that is the fourth to the left or the second to the right. It doesn't show anymore it's still the porch with one height. So, so then probably is the angle of the photograph. You can see then the porch there. So how these houses look like. Okay, you have one more photograph when the house was moved to the right, and you can see that then it appears that kind of balcony on the second floor. So this is the kind of look that house had in the old times, simply with a porch covering the whole facade. It's very simple, you know. In this case, there are three windows, two on the main facade, and there are two on the right side and on the left side. You can see that, I repeat again, the 1906 Sanborn map on the bottom area. So you can see that is resembled to the left exactly this kind of house, you know, a two-story with a front porch of that is only one story and a rear that is only one story as well.
Okay,
So these are the conditions. These are the conditions of the current building. You can see that that balcony that was built after 1930 has been later enclosed. You can see that the windows are the original windows are at the first floor, and also the original door with the entrance and transom with the side lights and transom lights as well. And in this case, at this side, you can see the two windows on the I building. So it's simply removing that kind of, you know, enclosed porch that doesn't help at all. And then you would build a simple front porch. These are the views of the side facades. This is a photograph that I took this morning showing the beams and so. And these are photographs showing the windows and the original door. So what are the weaknesses? Already the property owner is showing that it has a very bad condition, and so, well, that's proper because the house has 129 years old and it hasn't been maintained correctly. The matter is that also they are requesting the demolition of the house to build parking space. The problem is that you cannot build anything. You cannot build a parking space because the ordinance, the Downtown Edge ordinance, does not allow you to build any parking space unless you have a setback of 50 feet. Right now, the house has 40-something with those rear additions, and so you cannot, I mean, if you demolish or relocate the house, you could build an alberca or a zacate or the other project, but you cannot build a parking space. So the request of the customer saying, we want this space, have free space for parking, it's not allowed, but it's not allowed by ordinance, not by the Historic Preservation Office or Commission, is a zoning principle, and it's called under the zoning district called Downtown Edge. So there's no way. Here is the ordinance, and you could see on the bottom area, I have also printed for you, that bottom area where it shows that kind of raised schemes and so with black and white, that's the parking space area, you know? Indeed, we are going to see another case regarding these kind of things. So you would see that the primary setback is 50 feet, and that's something that it's in the ordinance precisely to preserve the buildings that you may have on the front area of the lot. So what are the opportunities? Well, as you will know, there are a lot of buildings at East St. Charles that are or retail or luxury office area. And I'm mentioning there all these kind of buildings. And then as an opportunity, this is an exterior thing that we have already seen. I mean, even when the conditions of the house are not exactly the best, it's very difficult to demolish a house now after the example that we have through the La Iseca building. And we are going to see all these kind of things. Okay, these are opportunities that are in this same street, only one block to the left and to the right of where's the building. This is the Bella Bar Med Spa, that is a luxury place in front of this other house of the GBEC headquarters, the Alonso that you very well know. And then we have a bunch of law offices on the next section of the street. So that's a good, let us say, use for this kind of house. You know, this is the Grupo Montanaro headquarters and law office, the Stapleton. This is currently now going through rehab, and it's going to be the future Cameron County Historical Commission headquarters, again offices. This is the Fray Mendez Law Office, and in front, you again find the Cesar de Leon Law Office and the St. Charles Building Law Office Complex with many attorneys there. Once more, once you pass this building, you find this office complex where there are different notaries and so here. So I'm bringing here the case of the La Iseca. This is an historic photograph of 1979, how it looked like more than 40 years ago, and how it looked like recently before the rehab and after. And you can see the condition. The condition is that practically the building is falling apart. So that's no roof, no nothing. So this is the another angle on how it was during the rehab and after the rehab. And this is the side facade. This one. This is all these black and white photographs are 1979. Okay, and they are from the HAPS, from the Historical Architectural Building Surveyor. That was done here a long time ago. So with that in mind, let us say that it complicates the possibility, or at least that's what we feel of the demolition of the house. Finally, the threats. We don't see any threat right now because there are no retail or office projects being introduced here. So the staff recommendation is to table the proposed demolition to the historical significance of the house until a formal project is submitted. So if you're so kind to open the public hearing.
Okay, is there anyone here to speak on behalf of this project? You want to identify yourself?
Yes, sir. My name is Tony Menchaca. I represent Nilroy Holdings, which is the property owner. And we submitted a letter in support from Mr. Eddie Lucio. I don't know if you all got a copy of this. Okay. So we acquired, like Mr. Velez said, we acquired both properties, the one in the corner, which is 701 and 705. And we've been actively working with Mr. Velez and the Texas Historical Commission in Austin to see if we could save both of the structures through some tax credit programs and maybe some grants from the BCIC. At this point, through various emails, we've documented everything in here. I think we can all agree that the high priority building from these two properties is 701, which is that Nilroy Apartments, which we're currently trying to turn into like a boutique hotel, kind of short-term rental project. And for that, we need, one was parking, right? That's something that we need. And the other thing that is limiting us is that this 701 would qualify for help aid from BCIC and the THC. 705 does not qualify for any aid. We've been working with Ms. Valerie McGolan from the Texas Historical Commission. She's already said it's very unlikely that this building would qualify for any aid or tax credits. I've talked to the BCIC locally. Because this is not for entertainment or retail, they won't give us any credit or any help as well to repair this or rehabilitate this property. And without that, it's just not feasible for us. Even so, with the parking constraints that we have, we're also working with the bank, and because the building is currently uninsurable, it's right now at risk, the banks won't lend us to proceed on either of the projects until we define what's going to happen here. So, believe me, we want to be able to we wanted to preserve both of them, but given these constraints that we have, without aid from BCIC or the THC, it's really hard. All those examples that he gave you previously, I think they all qualify for tax credits or some sort of assistance. He did mention an alternative, which was to move the property to another lot, buy another lot, and then move that property elsewhere. I said, we can't afford, we would love to be able to do that. We can't afford to do that. It's not financially feasible. We would love to donate it to the city of Brownsville if they would, undertake that endeavor. We would donate it right now to the city of Brownsville for him to move it out and move it to relocate to one of the properties. It's just right now, with everything we've documented so far, it's hard for us to proceed. We want to focus on the high priority building, which is 701, which is the Nilroy Apartments, the one next door. That's the one we want to focus on. We want to be able to get our tax credits, which Valerie McGolden has said it is already, we can proceed there. That is high preservation priority. And we would love to be able to save both of them, but at this point we can't. We have to, decide. And that's what we want to put before you all today. And I think we've documented everything in here. Everything we've said is supported by email evidence of what we're proposing for you guys to consider.
Okay, so your plan, what you would like to do is demolish this building
Yes, sir.
and in its place, have some parking for the apartments next door.
Ideally, it would be better to do parking if we can jump that hurdle. If we cannot, we can do, some landscaping, green area, not only the parking is the issue, it's also the insurability. We cannot insure this property, and the bank won't lend us to insure the project. And I've documented a letter there from the insurance company saying, none of the markets, want to insure this particular property. And I agree with Mr. Velez. We just acquired this. The prior property owners never, I guess, spent a dime on this thing, and that's sad. I worked with him before on other projects. I'm all for preserving, but without any assistance, any aid from these governing entities, it's hard. And so we want to focus on 701, making that something we're all proud of, restoring it back to the way it looked back in the 1950s, which was the Nilroy Hotel and Apartments. And ideally, we'd like to be able to provide, more adequate parking, because we want to change the type of tenants that are currently in the area. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the area right now. It's we want to change it up so that we can make use of it.
Who currently owns this building?
We do. We just acquired it.
Okay, you just acquired it
We just acquired the property.
in
Yes.
the past year?
Yes, within a year.
Okay. And the intent when you bought this building was to demolish it?
No, to restore both of them.
To restore both?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because we have, it makes more sense because right now the 701 building has 20 efficiency units. This one has 7. So it cash flows perfectly, with 27 units. The problem is, once we start engaging the bank saying we cannot insure that property, you need to, think what you're going to do on the project. When we're presenting to the project to remodel the whole thing, that property became an issue. Then I started reaching out to THC as well, Juan Velez as well. There's no BCIC. There's no incentives. We can't get any support from these entities. We can, however, for 701, and we're willing to sacrifice those 7 units, additional units, so that we can save and make a better place, an area for that 701, the 20 efficiency units.
Is anyone living in this building right now?
Yes, there's people there's current tenants that were there before, but to be honest with you, sir, we would like to get moving fast because I think it is a risk. We're in the process of moving everybody out. We just acquired it. If you look at the records, no longer than 3-4 months, something like that.
Mhm.
Just looking at this building, siding that you see above the whole floor,
Mhm.
same code. Come, so, thinking you could make. Okay. Building. Six. Why they don't. But like it's a seven.
Yep.
Right. And I agree with you. I could. Um, It's hard. And you know, I'm just taking from the various conversations I've had with these people, you know, Juan did say that the building had lost the original second story balcony facade, so it lost some of its historical value when it did that. And Ms. McGolan from the THC said the building has no historic designation, and she thinks it would be unlikely to be eligible for any individual listing in the National Register.
So Juan, because a lot of times with this work with the Texas Historic Commission, it ends up being a negotiation. It ends up being they give an initial reply and you go, wait a minute, I think you're wrong. There's enough historic integrity there that it is there. Enough is there because you can see the original siding is there, the original doors are there, the original windows are there. Maybe the original windows are on the second floor after that junk is taken down.
Well,
And so I'm thinking that you might be able to get enough incentives, make this viable. Because I understand, in fact, the last couple of buildings I've worked on downtown, I've hit the same log jam. If I can't get something, an incentive somehow, either the tax incentive or the BCIC, I can't make them work.
Correct. I agree with you.
It's just too hard.
It is hard, but right now, I've tried to do what you've told me. And, you know, how do I tell these people, you
So
know?
let's just
I think-
ask Juan.
I think there's a way to go back
If,
one.
if you went, do you think, from having working so many years with the Texas Historic Commission, do you believe that you could argue the case?
okay, I think that
Because you're right. If you can't argue the case-
somehow could not be difficult. First of all, now we know the history, and naturally we can provide it to you. We have that early photograph of 1928. I mean, you can also skip a lot of money by simply demolishing that enclosing balcony, all the rear addition, and leave the main structure with these two side windows. And so you have those windows on the other side is a replica. You have four. Well, you have to simply do exactly the same. And you have to do a replica of the windows that are in the first floor on top because these houses work always symmetrically. And naturally a porch is much more easier to build rather than a balcony and so with huge supports and so. I feel that the fight deserves, you know, I mean, the house deserves a fight and show all the evidence and that they say that it's a prairie house. No, it's not a prairie house. That's a little bit later. This is an 1895 house. It perfectly matches a National Folk, I family. So when they review all this kind of case, they probably may change their mind, you know? And also, what I try to show you, your partner as well, is that in a street where there are a bunch of law offices, I mean, this is a natural place. The matter is that also this house has been so much altered because from a single house, it was transformed into an apartment house. If you just bring back only one use, and that use is on the shop, a retail area, or an office, or, you know, you're going to save money, and as Mr. Love is saying, this is a very impressive asset. You know, kind of 130 years old building, that it is practically located in the same place. Knowing now that the story is related to the Neil Roy, you can fight it better, you know?
The other thing is that
I'm sorry.
clearly Charles has that synergy that has evolved coming down from the
Yep.
Alonso, all of those buildings.
Yep.
See, I'm thinking if this was an isolated building in the middle of downtown surrounded by all kinds of, be a little different. But you're close enough that I think this could be a valuable, you might find that it is more valuable thing to restore rather than having a parking lot.
No, and
And so because of that synergy, I mean, let's face it, St. Charles is the most intact historic neighborhood in this town. You're within stone's throw.
And what it complicates more, Mr. Menchaca, is that if you relocate this building or you demolish this building, you cannot get that parking space that you really need. And I understand it, but it's because ordinance.
I understand, but what do you do when you don't have the resources to do so and nobody wants to give you the help?
Well, I
But
think
I
that
mean-
we should have to maybe talk together to Miriam again,
I did talk to Miriam,
telling her the clue here.
and I talked to the
clue there is-
THC. That's why I documented the letter. In the letter, it's been documented, you know, I've tried.
The clue there is to use the space for this kind of commercial buildings, such as Mr. Love is going to do with the Samuel Brooks House. Exactly the same. He's going to fit there, the Cameron County Historical Commission, so that's then something different, and it's not a residential, and that's the reason of the grants, you know? Apart from, well, that in that case, it's a national state marker, and he's going to get tax credits. So in this case, what I would do is, okay, think that this house is, you know, this kind of example, we have this story, and it's an easy way to rehab because you have the main elements that are the elevations and the first floor that is intact.
I would love, guys, I would love to be able, I tried this to, you know, I've worked with Juan before.
Yep.
And, we have one, and it's not my first, my initial intent to demolish this. I did my due diligence. We did. We want to be able to do this, but it's not, you know, we've come to a point where we can only save one of the properties to do it right. You know, we've got this 20-unit Neilroy apartment hotel, which is considerable. We're going to focus all our efforts there. We can't do both of them. You know, we would love to be able to do both of them. Now, guys, consider, you know, it's been documented. It has lost some of its original historic value. Mr. Velez has said in his email, you know, because of the second balcony, the modification that someone did, you know, its value went down as far as historic value. And so I would, again, point you to those key factors. You know, we would love to be able to do both of them. Financially, it's not feasible for us.
You indicated earlier that you had talked evidently to a bank
Yes, sir.
about financing
Yes, sir.
restoration of this building.
Yes, sir.
They turned you down.
They did, because it's the uninsurability of the project, as far as that one
I would
goes.
venture a guess that if you went back to the bank or other bank, showed them that you were planning on sprinklering this building, wood frame building, so it would go up like a tinderbox if it wasn't sprinklered. By having a sprinkler system throughout the building, it makes it almost fireproof. That may be why they're concerned about not financing it.
These are all great ideas, guys, but they take more money,
Could I, okay.
you know, and nobody's offering any help.
Could I,
you know,
okay. Could I suggest,
understand because of my own projects. I have to finance my own projects myself because banks don't want to. It's really hard. And so, which means it's my retirement fund. Okay, so, but that's changing little by little, especially if you figure out how to get some of that other money coming to make it a viable project.
Could I?
The only reason I'm pointing this out is because I think you're close enough to this rest of that core historic district that this would have value. And I hate to see a building, we let buildings go when this clearly can't be done, but I hate to see one go that I think you could win your case, bring assets in. And I've done, okay, so I restored the Alonso building. I'm working on the Brooks House, which is right next to Trey's. I helped with a couple of the others on St. Charles.
Young House.
And so, and the Young House, I restored the Young House. So I did 3 of the major buildings restored in that St. Charles. And what was happening was everybody was waiting to see what was happening to those major buildings. Now synergy is there. And don't say you got to save every single building. We understand that. I'm just thinking that maybe this is not a lost case with the state and therefore the tax incentive program.
Well, and what it may happen is that it is now a medium preservation priority ranking because it's current condition. But I think that we should have to open that conversation with the appropriate people of the Texas Historical Commission and find out.
Okay, but
Because this is a symmetrical house and it's easy.
you're willing, see,
Yeah.
they don't have all of the time in the world to just get butt their heads against somebody who's answered the state. Are you willing to go help them at the state level to either make that case? And if you can't make the case,
If,
Okay.
let me ask you, on those projects you did, the examples you gave us, did you get tax incentives on all those?
absolutely not, I've never gotten one tax.
Really?
Had to do.
You made it work.
The building was restored by, the Young House was restored by TSC.
Oh, those are all,
Which means they had pockets, but the.
Yeah,
Alonso, which
we're-
is the most
we're small
important
time compared to those guys. We're trying to. Yeah. So I want you guys to focus on this, I found a picture from the 1950s on that. I wish you could have a picture for them from the Nel Roy Hotel. We would love to focus all these energies, all the energies that you're asking me to spend to do this, rather on this 20-unit boutique hotel, which the state has says, we're going to help you. Bond says we're going to help you. Even if we don't get the BCAC grants, we can focus on energies, and it is financially feasible for us. I'm not here to just try to demolish something and take it out of the St. Charles neighborhood. That's not what I'm here. I'm saying, hey, help me beautify and make this high priority building a much better place. If I can put a common area there, doesn't have to be parking. It could be a nice common area for people to, you kind of be there and utilize this facility. The way it is right now, the tenants that we have right now going on, if it doesn't work for us, we're just gonna have to throw in the towel and resell it. But we would love to be able to bring this to Bronzeville, bring it back to what it was, And for that, we're asking for your help.
The issue I see, Mr. Menchaca, is it's twofold. One, you wouldn't be able to build the parking lot that you want to build due to the ordinance. And secondly, it will interrupt the historic fabric of that district, the thing that Larry's talking about. So this is what our duty is, as I see it, is to protect all those structures communally, because each one tells a story. So I really think it can be saved.
Yeah.
I think.
And I want,
I've worked on a lot of these old buildings. I don't charge anybody anything ever. I'd be glad to walk through it, and if I said, hey, this is too far gone, the floors are collapsing, blah, 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 I'd tell you, and I'd be right with you. And if you can't get those, and what we're telling you is, we understand, if you can't get those incentives, it changes the dynamics. We think you might be able to.
We're asking you
I think
just
we
not to
can-
give up just yet.
Well, if you guys are willing to help me for free, I'd love to help.
Larry doesn't charge.
Or
Okay.
maybe in the meantime, even if there are tax credits or BCIC money, wonderful, and if not, maybe even it can be relocated rather than to lose it. I mean, there's this second option, and then you would have your space free and well, not a parking, but I don't know, a Zacate or Alberca or whatever. What I want you also to, when you leave this place jointly with your partner is figure it out that this, if you bring back a single house unit and so, you can reuse it for any commercial purpose simply because the rest of the historic buildings in the area are addressed in that same way. And you already see that it works, that these kind of commercial buildings or offices or businesses are already there.
To be fair to you, would you just maybe give just a little spasm of time that we could explore to help support your economic models? Not just say, too bad, you gotta fix it. We're not saying that. Maybe if you could give us a little bit more time, we'll get Bond to start working with the Texas Historic Commission and see whether there's something, because that 45% back from the state credit makes a difference. And then if you could get, you'd probably get at least the 60 or 70,000 front facade and MEP from BCIC. So there you got 60, 70,000 plus 45% back from the state. We're just trying to figure out how to help you make it a model that works for you. Not just tell you, too bad, you got a historic building, so sad.
But Mr. Menchaca, I'm not sure I understood, but are you saying that it's gonna, if you don't get what you want, that it's gonna jeopardize you doing the other projects?
Correct. I can't afford doing both projects. Not the way with the current condition that house is in. And so when we decide, sometimes you have to decide, between one or the other. And like this is the case for us. And we want to save the one that has highest priority, which is 701.
Okay.
We really want to do something, beautify that area, make it look nice, restore it back to the way it looked in the 1950s. I shared with Juan a picture of the postcard that I bought on eBay from that hotel, showing the way it was in the 1950s. So we want to leave it just the way it was, and get all those tenants out as soon as possible, because the area is, it's pretty bad. The way it is right now, I don't know if you guys have walked through it. I have. And so we need to hurry up on this thing.
So what does the bank tell you about financing the project? They're saying that we're not gonna do it if this is there?
I've got two banks working on this thing that I've approached on this thing, and this one is the one that we have problems with, or when we reach out to them. I try to do the tax credits so that maybe if we're not getting any funds for that, maybe we can get it back in in federal tax help and allow for the partners to make some money back there or get reimbursed. Now, the BCAC would be great help, I agree, but I'm not gonna go and lie to them and say this is gonna be for commercial use when it's clearly, for multi-tenant use,
But they were thinking about, but you see, if BCIC is thinking about helping you on the Nelroy for the same use.
No, I'm not getting any help from BCAC. That's why it makes a problem, it makes it so hard to save both structures. I'm not getting any help on any of them, except for the THC, which they've said in their email.
They would do the 45%.
Yes, sir. We were gonna work on that with the THC. So we wanna hurry up, and that takes time. We wanna hurry up and do the Nelroy and focus on Nelroy. Again,
That building is.
Juan knows I've tried
Yeah.
to save both of them. I've tried. I reached out to both of these guys. I'm actually gonna go meet with them in Austin in April to discuss this project. But she did say, it's very unlikely. What am I gonna do with that?
The Nelroy is ransom building, and what you're trying to do there is an incredibly good thing.
It will, it will. I'm excited for that. I'm very excited. But you know, we want to focus our resources and our time to that one. Now, sometimes you want to save the whole body, but got an amputated arm here or there, you know.
What we're asking is to give us an opportunity to try and help you to get that tax credit.
I would love the help. I would love the help, guys. If you guys would willing to donate your time, because I've tried it, you know, and I can't go and tell the state what to do. You know, I'm not gonna be fighting, you know, I don't want to go and fight the state on this, you know. They've said 701 is high priority. We're gonna help you on 701. I'll take that help, you know, that's what I want to do. Focus my energies there.
Okay, the staff recommendation is to table this issue today. Are you in agreement with that? If we can get together with you?
Sure, sure,
and
sure.
do what we can to help
If you
you?
guys will help me out, and yeah. And if we find that there's just simply not a way to do this, and if we then can consider this, and, you know,
Then we want to help you not get in your way.
Yeah, we appreciate if you let us exhaust some of the options here.
absolutely.
It would give us.
Are there any other questions?
We would table this for the next hearing. I mean, what I don't want this to go in a 3-4 month process.
We'll try to get the information. Yeah, we'll try to get information from the THC as soon as possible, especially Greg Smith.
We need to move just quickly, so we're not in your
Pending,
way.
pending whatever Juan finds out.
We really appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you, guys. Thank
So
you.
Okay, is there a motion to close public hearing?
I move to close.
Okay. You want to identify yourself?
Pardon?
Identify yourself?
Yes, I'll identify myself. I'm Reba Cardenas McNair, and I am very interested in historic preservation in this city. And I agree that St. Charles is the most intact. And I believe your responsibility is to do what we can to preserve everything on St. Charles Street. And I honestly think that if the Nelroy becomes a boutique hotel, this can be an attachment to the boutique hotel. This could be additional rooms in the boutique hotel. This can be as charming as Nelroy. There's no doubt in my mind. And this can be part of the project. Make it commercial and make it eligible for the tax credits and make it eligible for BCIC. I think that is a much more reasonable solution than tearing down something. And as your responsibility is to make sure that valuable assets are not torn down. And I really believe in historic preservation, and I believe in doing everything we can to keep as much intact as we can in the city. And I think we tout ourselves as a very historic city. Well, if we're a very historic city, we need to tout historic preservation and do all we can to preserve what we have. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion to close public hearing?
I move to close.
I'll
Does
second.
anybody, wait a minute. Does anybody else want to speak on behalf of this project? Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made, second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Is there a motion?
I move the table this.
Okay, a motion made to table this item. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Next item is 254 West St. Charles.
Okay, this is the Guadalupe and Luis Lamadrid house. It was built in 1929. Precisely, Luis Lamadrid was a carpenter coming from the Jefferson County. He was involved in a scandal regarding the Blantons. Apparently, the father and the son went into the King Ranch to hunt ducks without any kind of permit, naturally, and they were never been seen again. So the second owner was Bermea, and Bermea was the owner of the Houston Cafe in Matamoros. And finally, Hill bought the property, and he was also the owner of the Brownsville Ice Company that is precisely the building to the left of this house. This is a medium preservation priority ranking, and naturally there are tax exemptions if conveniently rehab. So I'm showing here let's say, the history of the transactions and so, and we can see through the Sanborn maps that the first time it appeared, the house was in 1930. Naturally, as I said, it was built in 1929, and it says tile. When it says tile, is that the whole roof was tile, roof tile. And then suddenly in 1957, what it happened is that the front area is still one story, but the second and rear area, sorry, the rear area is a two-story building. So what it happened is that I feel that between 1939 and 1949, when this property was owned by the Mortons, that own also the Brownsville Ice Corporation, they built that second floor to, I don't know, to use it as a house for them or whatever when they were having the business just next to it. So the house, this is how it looked like, and this is how the 2018 survey shows the house as a medium preservation priority ranking. Naturally, the house, as I said, was only one story, but right now it's considered medium preservation, even with that second addition built in the time that I think that it happens. This is a rear view. These are all the details of the structure. The chimney was extended. And these are some original building features that are still there, but there are others that are have to be, rehab completely because leaks and so. Oh, these regards to fences if the owner wants to fence the house. So, I didn't put any drawings, but I visited. I mean, the owners that are here visited me yesterday. They come from Utah and they are specialized in this kind of work. So what they want is to simply bring back what is possible in that house, keep the second story house, let us say that build something that is a little bit more consistent than this kind of panel stuff with a consistent material that now Mr. and Mrs. Escamilla may explain. Probably do a symmetrical, single hung windows here in the second floor to look better the area. Close this window and stucco the whole area. The interior will be kept, and he will bring back. Now that these windows have gone, they will bring back single hung white aluminum windows, non-tinted glass. So if they do the correct work, they may then achieve the tax exemptions. So we are recommending to approve the project, the rehab project, naturally after the building permit and COA applications are filled out and the project is stamped by the building division. And with what I told before, that is preserve original elements such as the front door and so, the single home windows with the characteristics that I say, and that's it, and the dark gray roof.
Is anyone here to speak on behalf of this project?
Yes. Hi, I'm Sam Escamilla. I represent Gemstone Contracting, and which owns the house. We're from Utah and been a contractor for several years, and we love restoring beautiful homes. As far as this house goes, needs a lot of love. Needs a lot of love. This the second story, this front half that you can see from the front. We've got a structural engineer, David Day with Casa Engineering. We're working closely with him to support that structure properly. When it was added, it wasn't done properly. And so we've basically gone through, I met with him yesterday, and Juan as well, and basically went through the house to go over all the stuff. There's quite a bit. And so that's what we're doing. We're submitting those plans. We want to submit them all together. So we've got the structural recommendations and everything with our plan to remodel everything. So it's all together and you can see the full play-by-play. So there's no kind of like, oh, get us this question kind of a thing. That's what we're working on right now. And essentially, we want it to be like a seamless transition from the bottom to the top. And the goal is to basically preserve it and make it, good standing so that it could be sold and to an owner that would love it. It's going to Currently, it has 3 bedrooms and it will have 5, and it's 2,700 square feet. And we don't need much profit on that. It's not, we don't need to talk numbers, but it will work in an affordable way for the next person. And the idea is to update that properly, everything. And that's what we're doing.
Does anyone have any questions? Not, I'll entertain a motion to close public hearing.
So moved.
Okay, motion made. Is there a second? Motion made and second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. 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 Those opposed? Motion passes. Get that?
No, that's a public hearing, no?
Need to-
You close the public hearing? But now
Tony
you have
made
to
the motion.
Oh, you did the motion?
Close public hearing.
Public
Ah,
hearing.
okay. So then,
And Tara seconded.
yeah, Tara and Tony, I think.
Tony made the
Yes.
motion.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Okay.
It's on reverse.
Okay?
Major.
All right. Thank you. Is there a motion?
Yeah, I move that we approve the rehabilitation with staff recommendations.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
Great project.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, last item is ordinance number 2024-235.107.
Okay, the ordinance proposes to change the setbacks of 3 different traditional neighborhoods, and they will impact on, within our historic district. So what I'm putting here in this slide is the impact that will cause to the historic districts. So as I said yesterday also in the Planning and Zoning Commission, the urban design in the historic districts of Brownsville consisted and consists of presenting interesting architectural styles focusing on the importance of the facades that face the street or nearby streets. The Historic Preservation Office and primarily the Historic Preservation Commission protect this unique character for future generations, as well as a manifestation of the pride of place that represents our historic Brownsville. The proposed change of these 3 ordinances means that, let us say, the goal would be of the urban strategy towards suburban areas within our historic districts, where that unique architecture will be challenged and being probably replaced by standardized, repetitive, and monotonous structures where the car takes priority. If such an ordinance is passed in the city's historic districts, the principle of uniqueness of our architecture will be lost forever in favor of car lot-like designs. This was, here you have a copy of this ordinance with what it is right now to the left, meaning that you have 40 and 50 feet of setbacks in the different traditional neighborhoods, traditional neighborhood corridor, traditional neighborhood or traditional neighborhood mixed use. And what is proposed to the right, that is simply to do not have any setback. So that will mean also that then even a lot of historic structures can be perfectly demolished on behalf of parking spaces and so, well, such as we saw in the previous, in the item number 2. So these are the 3 proposals. This is what do we have in the historic district. On light blue, that's the traditional neighborhood. On the darker blue, that's traditional mixed use. And these brown areas are traditional neighborhood corridor. So as you can see, we are totally, impacted by the proposal ordinance. This ordinance was triggered because there's a property located in Los Ebanos that want to build a commercial parking without in compliance of the 50 feet foot, and that makes that we cannot change punctually the way to address these kind of issues. We should have to change the whole ordinance so everybody could be in favor of that. I'm showing finally the typical solution that is simply a half moon, such as it's shown in the Fernando Vallis house, in the Farias, or in this house in this case, or in this other. So the recommendation is simply to deny the application drafted ordinance. Also, it was denied yesterday in the Planning and Zoning Commission, and that's all. Maybe you want to open the public hearing?
Any questions? Need a motion?
No public hearing?
Someone might want to open. So,
Somebody wants to speak.
Oh, does anybody want to speak?
so
Hi, Lynette Villarreal, 1 Ebony, here in Brownsville. So I'm on the corner of Palm Boulevard and Ebony. Just a little context about this ordinance. And so I have been trying to, Mr. Velez, I don't know if you have a picture of my sad house. Okay. This is a property we've been working on for years, and we're trying to put some form of parking in the front of this property. May I distribute something to them? Or
Yes.
Yes?
Your residence is on Palm Boulevard?
Well, I know. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
wow.
How long have you had this house?
Thank you.
4 years.
So I would just like to give some context for this item. I have been trying to get some form of parking at this property for a while now. Originally, just due to how the property is situated, there has to be certain setbacks from the stop sign, right? Since it is on a corner. There's rules about the fence, there's rules about the driveway. I did get an approved, well, before we get into that, there have been, the one circular driveway that has been approved would come out somewhere in the middle of like West Ebony behind my fence into my backyard, all the way through to the other side of my ebony tree, which essentially makes it like another street. Palm Boulevard, the cars pass through there, you know, 50, 60, even 70 miles an hour. I think it would just be unsafe to put something that long from one corner to the other corner of my property, which would go, it would essentially cut it in half, right? Losing a lot of the land that I could use. When I brought this to the city of Brownsville multiple times, they just said, well, no, 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 there's an ordinance. This is a blanket ordinance. It has to be 50 feet back, or it has to go in this semicircular sort of way. So they said, you know what, we can amend the ordinance that would allow for you can look at it on the other side. They kind of did like a little rendering of it to put some form of parking here on the side, and we can amend the ordinance to have that done. My intention was never to change the ordinance in a way that would so negatively impact a lot of the properties in our community, right? I didn't see the ordinance until yesterday, the proposed ordinance that the city of Brownsville staff drafted, but then also didn't recommend. So it was a very confusing situation. I understand why Mr. Velez would not want to move forward with this ordinance. I'm not sure I'm really on board with it either. But what I'm actually not on board with it. What I would like to get done though is find a solution or a way to get some form of parking, because I just have dirt and I'm so over it. And nobody can park there, and it's ugly. You drive through there all the time. This has been going on for months and months and months and months. The proposed area, in my mind, I see it as a driveway. They're calling it a parking lot. And that's really the I guess the part where I'm confused. I like the idea of having the entire front full of grass or landscaping and having this kind of tucked off to one side. And that will allow me to use my property in a better way, right? Where people can park on the side. I'm not gonna make it look like a parking lot. There's gonna be pavers. It will be done tastefully and nicely. And that way the front would just be grass. But at this point, I don't know what to do because the ordinance is ridiculous. Like, it felt like a big setup to not pass because nobody wants a building at 0 feet from the front. I totally get that. But how do we make this work?
This is just a single-family residence, right?
It is a single-family residence. I live there.
Okay, Mark,
Reba's my neighbor.
can you go down the Palm Boulevard to the left? Now, across the street to the right. There's some apartments, there's some apartments there that have parking right there.
Yeah, but
Yes.
that was long time ago, before even the UDC started. I mean,
Pre-ordinance.
we have, okay, we have to distinguish what happened in the past, what is happening since the UDC also is in place, and also even before. If you remember, Ms. Cardenas showed several times because what it was allowed was this kind of half moon. Indeed, Ms. Villarreal requested a half moon here, from here to here, but it was pushed back by the traffic department because it was in conflict and you have to be 50 feet from the corner. So then there was a second draft with the parking that they want here, a commercial parking that is not allowed, it's not the way to resolve parkings in Los Ebanos. And also it doesn't meet the code, and because the code says that you can only build 50 feet from the front lot line. The way that it's resolved in Los Ebanos is through driveways, because the driveway is not a parking. So that's the reason why you have a bunch of half moons here. That started, I think, a long time ago with the Farias, no, Ms. McNeil, with the Farias house. Fernando Valle has somehow here his. So you can see that that's the natural way to resolve it. So a half moon fitted here could work, or a half moon somewhere here. In any case, you still have space here on the back and space here on the back. You know, that is 50 feet far away from the front lot line. What the ordinance that was not approved yesterday was to change the 50 feet, you know, setback from here, because then what you would see is only cars all the way through Palm Boulevard. I don't know, maybe that's what the residents want to see, but that's
No, we do
precisely
not want to see that.
the feeling. So the way to resolve is by using this space, but with a kind of half moon. Otherwise, you have to build something on the back.
Why does it have to be a half moon? This rendering,
Because a
this
half
could be a
moon, because a half
driveway.
moon is a driveway and sorry?
What if I change the shape and just make it straight then and not
Well,
pretty?
you may do a kind of snake and then have, I don't know if traffic would allow to have from, no, I'm not kidding, you propose this thing from here to here, maybe you have to do this way and then
But with
this
this, you
way.
don't destroy any trees or anything, right? You just,
It would not destroy any trees.
Yeah.
That tree's there, the only thing that they added, just, oh, I keep hitting this, I'm so sorry.
This is what you'd like to do. as a
Yes.
renter. And since that other is not going to be passed probably.
I can't
Is
do
this
that.
allowable within
No.
the current?
It's not allowable.
why?
because it's not meeting code of the 50 feet setback.
Because they're calling it a parking lot.
Okay, not a parking lot. Can't we do some of this pragmatically for a house that is, I mean, I can see the problem you have because it's right on the corner, which means you're limited by not having it close enough to the corner and this and that and the other. So, so now you're gonna have to work still under the old one? Ordinance?
They actually told me I couldn't even get to the Planning and Zoning Commission yesterday. I know Reba has some feedback. You're welcome. Want to come?
So I was just talking to her because I don't want parking in the front either, but she's, I think, you have to go 50 feet. Her house is at 50 feet. So if she put a fence and put the driveway back 50 feet behind the fence, I'm not for, there is a house, I don't remember whose house, I don't remember a number of the house, but there is a house years ago that put, well, yes, you all remember, the one that made the whole front yard to parking, and we were so upset. Huh? No, not, no, that was another house, but this is the one that, Miss Gonzalez that owns it. Remember? Do you all remember that? Yes, and we, well, okay, well, no, you all don't, but this little crowd, not this crowd, but this crowd should remember. I mean, the neighborhood got incensed because they went and put all concrete in the front. It's right behind the store on Palm. I mean, on Palm and Boca Chica, that first house. And she used it, yes, well, anyway, it came to this. I mean, it was an uproar. So anyway, the ordinance, there are many, what would I say? I would say the Los Ebanos neighborhood has many needs that this ordinance makes problematic for our neighborhood. So they were having they were going to have a zero setback. No, we're not going to go for that. And even for the principal buildings, it said zero setback. Well, no, that means anyone could go build a house in front of your old house. And what are you going to do about it? Because they can do it because it's zero setback. So there's lots of problems, and I think that all needs to be revisited because I think the needs of the downtown area are significantly different from the Los Ebanos neighborhood. But and Lynette didn't want to take out, she would have to take out her current fence to go far enough back to get the semicircular driveway. So she doesn't want to take out her fence. Right, so I get that. Because that's where her pool is. But I do see that if she comes, there's nothing preventing her from doing the driveway there, but going back the 50 feet to where her house is and putting a fence and putting the parking behind the fence. I believe that's correct right now. If she does that, she's 50 feet from the street and she can do that. And I, as a neighbor, would prefer that if there's going to be off-street parking in her house, that's behind a fence and not in the front yard. Because we do have Dolly and Graham, and we do have I don't know if Miss Gonzalez still lives in her house, but they were before a lot of ordinances. Both situations were before a lot of ordinances. So I think that might be a solution. She does not want to go back 50 feet and take out part of her backyard. It's that face that is adjacent to Ebony.
Where are you saying that, Ethan?
On the side where she's got the parking, but she pushes, so this is the, so here.
But then we won't see, this looks really nice driving by. We won't be able to see that then? That would be a problem.
Well,
I mean, I like.
I am for the, I don't want it to look at all commercial. I don't want it to look like that. I mean, okay, so the neighborhood was started in 1928, I believe, and it is a garden neighborhood. It's the first garden style neighborhood in Brownsville. So the idea of having gardens in the front instead of concrete is very appealing to me because that is how the neighborhood was initially designed. It is a garden neighborhood.
So that's the reason of the half moons, because the half moons allow you, as you can see here in the aerial views, green space on the front. So, okay, you sacrifice a little bit part of the green area, but you still keep.
And if she
the look.
looks the driveway, it's
So-
just a driveway
So.
width. And there's more grass in her front yard. That's what I would tell you. You keep it grassier.
So the 50 feet here would be kind of here. So then if you build something here, there's no room enough. So the only way to resolve it is through a half moon if you want to use this area. Otherwise, you have to think
Yes.
of this area or that one, you know? But here, the matter is that if you take into account 50 feet, you reach this area, more or less. But 50 feet, this one, I don't know, I cannot
That's
mention.
what,
Okay, so if this is 50 feet,
yeah.
then you trace the line here. This is the space that she can use as a parking. This one and this triangle. No, that's the, as parking. Okay?
You're just gonna have a paved driveway.
Different fence than this one.
But we don't know what ordinance we're gonna be looking at.
Speaking personally, I don't have a problem with this. I mean, I really don't. And the reason, my reasoning for it is when I look at the site plan, right next door, there's a curved drive right there. And if I'm driving down Palm Boulevard and I see this before I get to that Half Moon Drive there, I'm not offended by this as much as I'm offended by the circular drive. You know what I mean? I mean,
I believe we
okay.
That was genteel. That was genteel. That was nicely said.
But you know, when you look down the street and at all these others, they may have been grandfathered in or whatever.
Okay, so now, with that idea, then all the work that we have been doing since 2 or 3 years, that is push to the front, the houses, and to the rear, the parking in other areas of the historic district, such as could be downtown or West Brownsville, we are going to return back to the old model of having huge lots for cars in the front, and then the car push it to the back. That's not precisely what progressive cities are doing in the rest of the United States, is push back the parking areas so you can hide those spaces and put into the front the houses with green spaces and so to do a kind of walkable area. So that's what it's all around the United States. The ordinance precisely goes back to the old model. That is, have all these huge asphalt or concrete lots in front of the houses so you can see those on the street, from the street, and that's what you're going to see.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm more offended on than the proposed drive is how close the sunroom is to the next door neighbor. It's right there at the fence. Should be 5 feet away.
I don't understand it perfectly well for downtown. It does not make any sense.
You know,
In my old house, 37 Sunset Drive, my garage is 0 lot. line.
Yeah.
And several of the garages are 0 lot line in the 7.
Yeah.
But that's the auxiliary building, but now it is the principal building.
yeah. No, zero is allowed in the downtown.
Can't remove the. We can't remove the
Oh,
sun.
no. I mean, obviously, we had 0 lot line, but we had 50-foot setback for the front yard. We had 50-foot setback for the front yard in the neighborhood.
Okay.
But-
You have a problem if there's a driveway and then it's widened up after 50 feet by the sunroom? Reba?
I want the least impact in the front yard, as I do not want parking spaces in the front, other than a driveway. But she can put a driveway. There's 2, right, like.
So we use like the edges.
Can you draw it on your screen? Juan?
What? Sorry?
You
No,
could
I
probably
don't have
draw
to
it
draw
on
in.
his- you Probably draw it on his
No.
screen. No?
Inflexible.
No,
But
I don't have it.
what if you use vegetation to screen
I don't have it for
instead
the,
of a fence?
Hey, Juan, if you go to the measure tool on Google Earth, you can actually, that
Oh,
little,
this one.
yeah, it'll let you draw on there and measure stuff out specifically. It's quite a good tool. I use it all the time. And yeah, you can actually draw out certain stuff. It'll tell you square footage, change it to footage. Anyway, feet.
This parking that
Right
you're,
at the-
this parking that you're proposing for the front,
Yes, sir.
is this for visitors or for you?
For visitors. I have a 2-car garage in the back with a little driveway area you can.
So this is, okay, so this is the space for parking, okay?
If I put a fence, that's where it would, so there's no space. And it would destroy my palm trees.
Yeah,
I think my intention was to request some sort of like a variance from planning and zoning or more of a, have more of a conversation, but I think y'all can see that I'm really stuck here when it comes to transportation, planning and zoning, your commission, the fence. And if I have to go back and put a circular driveway, I mean, I can. It's just so long and in my opinion, ugly. And I don't know, Mr. Velez, when you and I spoke, you even said, I kind of like the idea of this, you know, off to the side, but you need to get through a lot of other people if you're going to
No,
do
to-
that.
to
That's.
zone, yeah, to zoning and so the matter.
Or zone, yes, you said,
From-
so I think that if we're held to a standard, right, in this overlay, we should be also allowed to have some sort of the variance.
Well, the
It's-
matter is that if that kind of ordinance is allowed and then just to fit to your request, we change the setbacks and so, what is going to happen is that simply Los Hermanos are going to disappear as the original, following the original design.
I have a question though, Mr. Velez. How is the circular concrete different from this?
Okay, because
That's what I'm having
a
trouble
driveway
understanding.
is not considered a parking, and you are going to do something of 8 to 10, 12 feet, and it's a driveway, it's not a parking. You know, so if you do here a parking, if you do a driveway and reaches to these 50 feet, and behind these 50 feet, you put the parking space, that's okay. But you would only have a driveway.
But in a
Whatever.
driveway, you can park.
No, that's not the purpose of a driveway.
It's not a permanent, it's not, they're not gonna have guests every day.
The dilemma for us, you're probably. Zoning,
P and Z.
we can,
No, yesterday was not approved. That-
Yesterday wasn't approved, so we're actually not talking about anything right now. Yes.
Oh,
But I thought I'd take the airtime because I'm so desperate.
Parking over there and then have edges. Here's what I'm thinking. Have that same, the parking go up, the first to the side, make an L shape, up to 50 feet with edges.
There's two, no, I'd do it, but it has to have 2 circles in it. Like you're just gonna drive over it. Okay,
Yeah.
may I see, may I? go up?
What's the deal here? What's wrong with this?
Really? I love it. Yeah. I walk by it all the time. Yeah.
It's nice.
And that's what I'm saying. By putting a fence there, then I wouldn't think that would be.
Still.
Yeah.
Here,
It's a frustrating thing. I'm sympathetic to.
I have a drawing.
That's
of
a
the
big piece of
certain-
property. I didn't realize. Yeah, I had no idea. Inside it.
Yeah.
Juan?
Yeah.
Go further.
Yeah, I.
Why don't we just adjourn? Talk about this later. Can we just adjourn and then we just adjourn? It's not, I mean. Why don't we?
Do it.
But you see.
Yeah.
Well, this should have been you. This. Yes, yes, I know. So. Okay, so it's. It's longer. But this is switched. How is this what actually down because this part of the driveway has to go back 50 feet. Has to expand. Has to begin. Now, eventually she will take down that fence, but she doesn't like it because it's that. But, it's here. This is the fence. Yeah, and she does want to get down.
Yeah, but tell Tony.
Is there enough room to do that?
Future.
Okay. Mr. Walker. Yeah, okay.
Well,
Okay, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Is there a second?
Get somebody to second.
There's a motion.
Second, who
There's a
second,
motion
who second the
close
public hearing?
Is there a second? Motion made, second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Okay, is there a motion?
All right. The motion.
We're gonna table or what?
I closed the public hearing and then Tony seconded.
Yeah, but is there a motion to what?
Oh, let's table it.
Yeah, that's agreed.
Motion made to table. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion made, And seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed?
Adjourn?
Motion passes.
I move
Okay.
to adjourn.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move, I so move.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed? We're adjourned.
Thank you all very much.
Don't leave,
Thank you.
don't leave. Where's Larry?
Got bad enough.
No.
He's in the bathroom? Okay, because I need to give you something, all right?
What's that? You're gonna bribe us? What?
No.